So I'm just here in Old Town in Sarajevo. Now, something I always advocate, especially if you're traveling on a budget, is to stay in a hostel, somewhere like this with Hostel Kuća here in Sarajevo. Now, the reason I say this is because you are actually getting rooms at a fraction of the cost. Now, obviously, a lot of people won't want to be staying in bunk beds or staying in a shared room that is, of course, the cheapest, and you'll want a separate room as you would do in a hotel. Well, the big advantage is with pretty much every hostel is that those separate rooms exist the same as they would do in a hotel, the same bells and whistles, except you get a much better experience. Somewhere like here in Bosnia, you actually get to interact with a massive amount of people. You get those open shared spaces and get to hear about places that you've not been yet, maybe suggestions for the future, as well as people running the hostel, giving you ideas of out of the way little coffee shops, tea rooms, or somewhere that you may not have seen in the travel guides. Something that you will notice in Sarajevo is it is a true merging of cultures. From the east we have the Ottoman Empire and Islam, and from the west the Austro-Hungarian Empire and Christianity, the two main parts that pretty much used to dominate Bosnia and once ruled over it. And because of that we have the meeting of cultures, this kind of inlaid part where we see east meets west here in Sarajevo. Old Town is pretty much where you always want to be in so many of the major cities, because you see so much culture, you see so much history of that city and of that country, and you can just see the best of places. As you can see here, it really is a bustling part of the city and has so many craftsmen and small stalls all over this area, and you can really take in a different part of Sarajevo that without it you never really see. So one of the things that you simply can't avoid in Sarajevo and across Bosnia is just how beautiful this country is. Now, much like most of the Balkans, the mountains really do give an amazing backdrop to the country and to the cities, and being in the capital and yet seeing such amazing landscapes is such a treat when you're here. So if you do find yourself in Sarajevo, somewhere that you absolutely must visit is that of the Yellow Fortress. Now, the Yellow Fortress was a cannon fort from the 1700s, specifically to defend the city at that time. It's not really used even as a historical site anymore. However, as you can see from the seating behind me, it is somewhere that's used very much for its panoramic views and for people to be able to see the city below us. Now, this is something that tourists and travellers use quite often, but even locals will come up here as somewhere to be in peace and calm, to enjoy the day and see the amazing views behind us and the city below. Unfortunately, Bosnia, as well as its beauty, does have a bloody past, one that many people would of course like to forget, but also something that is important to remember. And because of that, here in Sarajevo we do have many museums, galleries around their time with war. One of the most important being the Srebrenica gallery, which remembers a massacre of 8,000 Muslims in a village in Bosnia. Now, this is an incredibly important exhibition and something that obviously requires due reverence, so I will not be taking any video inside the gallery, but it is important to go into these places and see the past and understand it to be able to understand this amazing country. So Bosnia is a place of history, much of it directly affecting the rest of the world. Now behind me you'll see a bridge that visually seems unimpressive to many, however historically is very much important. On the north side of this bridge, now known as the Latin Bridge, was where we saw the assassination of Duke Franz Ferdinand by Gavrilo Princip, and that's why during the Yugoslav era this bridge was also known as the Princip Bridge. Now this actually then led to the July crisis, which eventually gave us World War I, all starting with the Latin Bridge. So I'm just on my way back up to the tea shop called Zerlo. I'm probably butchering that. It's actually the last name of the owners, but it is a really cozy, kind of beautiful little tea room. And actually it was suggested to me by my hostel as being kind of where you'd go for your grandma's tea. So it is a really nice little tea room, and I'm going to enjoy a chill out there. Now when you're in this part of Europe, of course, you can't get away with not trying the local börek. Börek is a really popular snack, meal, depending on how you see it, all across this region and slightly further on as well. Now of course, the locals have told me that this is the best in the world and certainly the best in the region. I'm sure a few other places may want to disagree with that. Really have to go in and try börek wherever you are, because it is such an amazing little dish, snack, whatever you want it to be, just enjoy. Something that I've got into the habit of doing when I come to a new place is seeking out a Cheers bar. Now by that I mean literally from the TV show, that logo of Cheers. Now it's not a franchise, they're not joined or anything like that, but it's just become so common that every time I find one of these bars in a new city, they're just so helpful, so friendly, and just a great place to hang out. And I found this when I was in Florida, found this when I was in Tirana in Albania, found this all over, and I have to say here in Sarajevo I found another Cheers bar, and hey, let's see how well it does. So this Cheers is far more of a kind of restaurant vibe nowadays. It's changed its kind of skin over the years, as I can see online in some old pictures. But it has a really nice vibe, very, very chilled out and very friendly. So as always, Cheers is the way to go when traveling.